Welcome to Euphoria.
So how do you set up your riggers?
All right, so basically you have 3 riggers like most big sport fishers. The big thing for me is the halyard lock is so nice. There's a lot of them out there. It's called the Hal lock. There's Rupp, and then these are the Gemlux ones. I've used them all. They're all good, but the Gemlux ones, I mean, are pretty amazing. And the nice thing about these too is if you really want to use heavy, like this is only 400-pound mono. If you want to go crazy and use like 550, something you can really hang on with, these will allow that to pass through, where on the Rupps and the Hal locks it's kind of difficult. I'm a big fan of these. They're not cheap, but it is nice. They come with everything you need. They actually come with the rope. This isn't the rope it came with. I tied that, but yeah, these are something I really love, especially when you're pulling lures or if you're tuna fishing. It's nice to be able to lock them, and it's just so easy to lock and unlock these. I absolutely love that feature. Where the other ones, like you kind of really got to crank down on them. Sometimes I've watched people take 2 hands, but I'm definitely a fan of these. And then for my long riggers, I always have 2 for a lot of reasons. So for me, the top clip is always set pretty tight, and we say top tuna, T. So top clip is for tunas, bottom clip, billfish, B. So by that I mean when we're dead bait fishing and we're trolling for sailfish, white marlin, even blue marlin, we're always using this bottom clip because it'll set a little bit lighter, so it'll pop out a lot easier. Billfish doesn't feel the bite, and you can feed through freely. And if you really need to in a hurry to turn, I don't love it when people snap them out, but you can if you need to. And then a lot of times, especially in the Caribbean, even at home in Jersey, we'll be bill fishing and all of a sudden you see the tunas on top. So it's nice to have a clip that's already set for it instead of trying to adjust this one and then adjust it back in a hurry to get back on the billfish. Especially in tournaments, it's really nice to have. And the third reason, these things break. I don't care how good they are. They eventually will break. Even silly stuff like you'll have a line come out and you'll pull this down and you'll see that it's still closed. And you're like, how the heck did that happen? I still can't really figure out why. But they wear out, and then at least you have a backup. If you're in the middle of the day, you don't have to worry about swapping it out. Some guys like to do, like this one here, like to do snap swivel, and that's all well and good. It makes it easy because this is like usually I think Tigris makes them with this.
Yeah.
And I'm not in love with it, but for me, for what I use it for, it's fine. But the problem with having a snap swivel on the bottom is if you're bill fishing and you're feeding, and if you have wind, sometimes that wind might blow it into the swivel. Like this one I use like a Streamline Spro wind on swivel. So then when you're feeding, the line will never get caught on there, especially like here in Curacao. I mean, you know, we're in a trade wind belt. It's windy as can be. The wind, you could be down sea and you're feeding and your line's going out the front of the boat on a feed. Last thing you want is to get tangled up. So I had the 2, always have a stop. I mean, you can use whatever you want. I've used chugger heads, you can use a cork, whatever you want. Then short rigger, it's another clip. I used to use those big red diesel clips because usually I use this for big heavy spreader bars when I'm tuna fishing or lures if we decide to pull lures on the short riggers when we're bill fishing a tournament. But I just came back to these because they just seem to last longest, and those clips broke a lot on me too. But this right here,
Yeah.
this is
a lot of the top teams have it.
It's
but
just
not all, I guess, beginner teams use it.
all right. So it's nice because this is my bridge teaser right here, and this is the snap swivel. I just put it on here as a keeper. A lot of people probably just have the rings like this, right? So what I've had happen, 2 things. One is when you're teasing, you get some pressure here, especially like if you look up where my pulley is on the rigger, we'll push this all the way up. So there's still a little bit of an angle, if that makes sense. I'm not sure that makes sense to some people, but it's nice because when you're pulling, no matter whether this is down here and your teaser's out there, it's either pulling on this pulley or when you have it all the way up, it's pulling on this pulley. So it's just a smoother pull, makes your tease a lot smoother, a lot more fluid. And instead of going through here, and I've also had it, blue marlin grabs it and strips a little bit of line. I've had this mono cut off this right here, even with the chafe gear. So then all of a sudden your rigger line's popped, which really sucks. This eliminates that problem entirely. And the reason I kept the ring here is so when we're in the turn, if we're turning this way and the fish is jumping out here, you got to pull down your long rigger if it's still there, and you got to pull down your teaser. And we just take this long line clip and just clip it right on there.
I've seen that.
And it allows us to keep the teaser out and still fish in the turn. So then your angler is here, and this is actually down low, and the line's coming out here, and your angler. So we just had the long line clip. I like long line clips because I'm used to them, and it's really easy, and they hang on. And also, before I got this, it also works twofold, so you could clip it here and keep your line from slipping down. It's not better or worse. I think it works well for us and keeps that teaser out of the way, and then I can just hit the button and it sucks it right up because it's pulling on this pulley and that pulley, and it comes in seamlessly, and the guys can either run it back up when we go to chase the fish or yank it in the boat if we're going to try to get the fish on the drive-by. So that's kind of the whole idea there. And then I still have a clip here because when we're tuna fishing at home, I still pull a bait here or a spreader bar. So the big thing for having, actually when we are tuna fishing at home, when I say home, I'm from New Jersey, some days we'll pull a line in each of these clips. So we'll pull up to 14 lines. And it's really important some days because you might only get one crack at the tunas. You run over to school and you have 14 lines out, you might catch 6 to 8. I've only had 3 times ever where all 14 went down and stayed tight, but we never got all 14s. But just a lot of different reasons, but usually it's just bottom billfish, top tuna, and then that's a game changer for sure.
Yeah,
you gotta have it.
Cool.
Also, you need to have these swivels because otherwise, like, I don't care. I mean, I know a lot of guys that go without swivels or they just do one. And there's a million ways you can rig these outriggers. That's the biggest thing. Like, there's no one way to do it, that's for sure. This is just what's worked best for me, and this gives these the most freedom and mobility, which is really important because when you're running out in a day, or even when you have the riggers down, you make a quick move, your guys are running the baits up in the rigger clips, getting ready to fire them out. So when you pull back, they're already in place, where if this thing can't swing freely, it's going to get caught, and as you go up, because of the line holding the memory, it's going to twist around and you have your line twisted down the rigger, and then it's going to be a mess. So that's why I have a swivel at the top. The top, this is a ball bearing, and every single one, you can see it's a big ball bearing swivel just to keep the twist out. And then all of them, I still put one in the bottom, except for the teaser, because this always has something heavy on it, and I'm not worried about twisting up on that. But that's more than enough.
Got it.
So very, very important.